My guest today is a fantastic real estate agent that works for Allen Tate. Her and her mom run a very successful team out of the Rockhill, South Carolina office, and she's been in business for quite some time now. I was really able to learn a lot of her business practices, how she works with clients, how she gets things to the closing table, how she prospects for clients. But what was really cool is when Morgan isn't selling houses, she's a drag queen. And when I went into this conversation, I knew literally zero things about the drag community. I really felt like they were all about loud makeup and loud outfits. And when I walked away from this conversation, I learned that the drag community is so much more than that. They are a community that fosters positivity, love. They look to create safe spaces for people, all around just really genuine, caring people that are after the same thing that a lot of us are after, a sense of community. And that's exactly what Morgan gets out of this group of people. And it's really cool because hearing her process on how she created her persona, how the drag world works, it was really enlightening, to say the least, because I felt like Morgan does a really good job of conveying information really well and really expressing how much she really loves that community. And I mean, not only is she a drag queen, she absolutely kills it and slays the real estate world. Like, she is really, really fantastic. I can't say enough good things about her. So I'm excited to share this episode with you because if you've ever listened to this podcast, you know I really love people who have cool hobbies and passions because those passions and hobbies leads to really positive outlets for people. And I think this is another outlet that I didn't even realize completely existed, or at least I didn't do any of the research on. So I'm very excited to share this episode with my friend, Morgan Overcash. Morgan Overcash. Okay, hold on a sec, because I feel like I should say you have the best last name ever in real estate.
Yeah.
I feel like that is a fantastic team name.
It is. It's a really good team name. Part of the Overcash team, my mother and I. And I am married, but decided to keep my, for lack of a better term, maiden name,
Right.
just because it is so iconic.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's a team. So you're on a team with just your mom?
Yes, just my mother and I.
How long have you been in real estate?
I have, my mother started real estate whenever I was 14 years old. So
Wow.
I guess I've been in real estate since I was 14 because I would help her take the yard signs out. And over the summers, just do like making stuff for her and following her around. Then became her administrative assistant. While I was still in college. And then after I got out of college, was wondering what I was going to do for money, because what do you do with a BA in music? Not a lot in this area. So decided to get my real estate license, and I have been officially doing real estate, I think, for 11 years.
Wow,
That sounds
11
right.
years.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
It is.
Is it crazy to think you've been in real estate for that long?
No, not really. I think just because I was quote unquote born into it, it's all I know.
True.
But yeah, whenever people see me, they're like, "Oh, you must have just started." I'm like, "No, I've kind of been in this my entire life."
Right.
And it's just
right.
Yes.
That is a great way to put it into perspective. When you said you had your BA in music.
Yes.
Are you privy to like one type of instrument?
Well, I was a voice major in college. Musical theater, opera, always been into that. But at some point in time, it just stopped making joy for me.
Yeah.
And so I decided just to keep it as one of my skill sets instead. Um, and it does bring me far more joy now than having to be so disciplined, I guess, is that I can do
Yeah.
it for the joy of it as opposed to having to keep up with the training and
Yeah, right.
everything.
Now,
Yeah.
would you say your joy for music kind of burned out in college?
Yes, I
Yeah.
would say so. Nothing takes the joy out of music quite like having to do music theory.
Mm.
Music theory is terrible.
Really?
Yeah, I hated math in school, and
Uh,
music theory is math, and it just didn't do anything for me.
right.
Um,
Yeah,
but
it's funny you
listening to
said that.
music, yeah.
Because it's the same. Like I went to school for graphic design, and
Hmm.
the second that I went to college, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right?
College just kind of put out the flame for me on that. But now I get to kind of do that a little bit in real estate now.
Exactly.
Have
What
you figured out a way to like merge the two, like your love for music or singing, really, and real estate?
So what when I initially started out, I would post videos every now and then of me singing in the car on the way to showings. Um, and I called myself the singing realtor, and it's still on my tag on my MLS name. Um,
Ah,
but I really don't sing as much anymore as I used to.
yeah.
I do karaoke, and that's actually how I met my husband. Was at a karaoke show. He was the
Whoa,
karaoke DJ,
that's cool.
and so I mean, when you really think about it, like all that 4 years of college led me to him. So I guess money well spent.
A lot of 4 years in college and a lot of debt met the love of my life, so it balances out, right?
It balances out in the end. Yes.
That's so funny. And like for you, every day working with your mom has got to be a blast, right?
Ha! My mother and I have very different personalities, and I think she thought she was training me, but I think for the past, well, I guess 12 years, I've been training her
Mm,
on how to deal with me.
yeah,
And we finally like have a really good dynamic, but it did take a long time. And even every now and then it is, difficult. We just have very different personalities and very different ways of doing things, but both of us get to the end game. And I think she's finally realized that.
right, right. It's
And
not so
so,
much how you get there; it's the fact that you guys get there to begin with.
exactly,
Right,
exactly.
right. When working with your mom, just you and your mom on a team, do you
Mhm.
guys split the workload? Because team structure is always different in real estate. It's always like either somebody does just buyers, the other is listing, or it's a
Mhm.
combination of the both. How do you and your mom work the structure out?
So our structure is very clean. She does her thing, I do my thing. And then the numbers are just combined in the end. I like to think that we span, different generations.
Yeah.
Um, so she's got the younger buyers or people my age or, Gen Z even that are starting to break into the market. She sees as her children or
Mm,
grandchildren, and I just see them as my friends. So we have different ways of working with people.
right.
So I mean, our structure is mainly working with people that love to work with us.
Right.
And so that is our team structure. We're not strictly buyers or sellers. We want to help people as much as we can.
Right.
So yeah,
And working
that's
with
our
your mom
structure.
allows you the freedom to kind of like if you need help with a showing, you got her to help you get them in the door.
Right, exactly, and vice versa.
Yeah, right, right. Man, a
Mhm.
lot of time with building a business with family is really cool. Especially, it sounds like you guys kind of have everything worked out now.
Yes, we do have the kinks worked out.
Yeah,
Um, and working with family is really nice because people will come and go in your life that are they have the same goals in mind, but then you have your mother and you've grown up with her, so you know how she works and how to communicate. And I think it does open up a lot more honesty. Is like, I don't feel like I have to filter myself in a business conversation. So we can be more honest with one another about how to deal with things.
That's cool. I never thought of it that way. Do you guys have like a routine system between the two of you guys? Like, does your mom say we got to make 5 contacts every day? Like,
No.
do you guys have that structure?
I'm very loosey-goosey with my, the only structure that I have is I wake up every morning, I check the MLS and see if there's any homes in particular that my buyers want to see. And that is the only structure I do have. I know that sounds different, unconventional, because I think that real estate, they do say you have to have a system, but my system is only really reaching out to people in an organic way. Not that, hey, boss babe, I see that you've been like really slaying your business, It's more of, I'll see a picture from a former client that they posted, and I'll just reach out to them and say, hey, it's just very organic and very, every day's different for me.
Yeah, no, you and I are one and the same in that manner, because I'm not, I'm definitely not one to be like, call a friend out of the blue and be like, hey, do you know anybody who will buy and sell real estate? Like, that is just totally not my personality. And I feel like if you have known me in any regards, you know that that's not my personality. I'm way more in the Morgan lane, where I'm just like, whoa, you had a baby. Oh, that's awesome. I'll throw him a text message. Dude, congratulations on the baby. That's wonderful. And I feel like that just is, it's more me. It's more reflective of who I am. Not to say that those people who say, I need to make 4 calls every day to pass clients.
Yeah. If you have the personality for that, then by all means do it. And side note on the baby thing, what we do, this is a fun little tip if there's anybody who is in the real estate business. I took this from another realtor that I saw speak at a conference one time, is we made little onesies. And it says, I got my crib from the Overcash team on it. So whenever somebody has a baby, we send them a little note and give them a little onesie, and I say, this is something to change the baby into, on laundry day.
That's so funny.
They love it. They love it.
That is cute. Do you guys go to like a lot of conferences and stuff?
When we can. I mean, you met my mom at Summit.
Yeah, right.
And Summits, I can only sit still for so long.
Yeah.
Before I start getting antsy. So I usually send mom to the conferences to soak up all that information, because she loves to take notes. She loves to engage with people. And I'm more of, you bring back the information to me, we'll talk. And
and decompress a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think that environment like is too overstimulating?
Yeah, I do tend to get overwhelmed in social situations, which is weird. People are always, I have social anxiety. So being in big crowds of people is very overstimulating for me. Yeah. But one-on-one, I'm fine.
Yeah. I totally understand. It's funny because a lot of people think that real estate agents are very like extroverted people, right? There's a lot of introverted real estate agents. A lot of people just like don't like all that social pressure, but still love a one-on-one contact with people,
Exactly.
There's plenty of those people that are out there. And having somebody to send in your place is pretty cool, because you still get the benefits of the conference, maybe not like the networking aspects, but you still get the important part, right? Which is the knowledge and all the tools that you guys take away.
Exactly.
Is there one thing that your mom took to the showed you from one of the conferences or the summits that she'd been to that completely changed your business?
That is a very good question. I would have to ask her. Nothing really made a humongous impression on me. Maybe you. Meeting you stuff. Talking with you, and even though I wasn't physically there with you, you really did make an impression on her. And I think it's just the one person thing is like, if you can meet one person that just kind of gets you, then that, I think, delivers dividends over a little tidbit that a speaker gives you.
Yeah.
Like, it's inspirational in the moment, but you're going to forget about it.
Right. I feel like a lot of people, when they go to those summits, they're like, you have the note takers that are like taking the stuff back. But I would say probably anywhere in the range, maybe like 60-75% of those people like don't take anything away from it. And they just kind of let it sit in their pocket. And then they just kind of let it sit in their notebook and they forget about it.
Exactly.
Like having the commitment to be like, whoa, I really liked how this person did X. I'm going to take X and make it my own. I think if you just take one piece out of those summits, it makes it worth the trip. You know?
Exactly.
And you said it really well. Sometimes all it takes is just like one speaker that you see that it kind of resonates with. Your mom was a sweetheart. She was so nice. Like, she came up to me. She was like, "Oh, thank you so much. It was just a pleasure." And it's really cool. Have you guys started doing any video aspects or anything?
I do a little bit of TikTok.
Nice.
That actually was doing very well. And then again, I do need a little bit more structure in that respect of actually planning out my content. But I mean, it has been very well received. I have started doing more informational videos as opposed to my usual funnies. And that has done pretty well. Yeah, exactly. What is it? Edutainment is what.
Edutainment.
Edutainment. Yeah, I've heard that phrase used a couple times, so it's not my phrase. I don't want to take credit for it, but
that's great. That's a great way to think of it. You watch a video of you singing a Michael Jackson song on the way to a showing, and then you have like you educating people on what PMI is. Like that's a great mix. Do you show other aspects of yourself on social media, like your personal life, or is it strictly just real estate?
I do just me.
Yeah.
And if in the moment I'm feeling like I need to turn my camera on and actually, do something, I will. I very rarely, like as you see me right now, I very rarely wear makeup. I very rarely do my hair. Sometimes I'll be wearing what I call my hoodie of truth, which is my oversized, comfy. You've seen those things. It's sort of like the upgraded version of the Snuggie. And I will legit, I have not done my hair, haven't even showered that day, but it's like something has overtaken me. I got to talk and put it up on the socials. And so, yeah. I'm just
that's cool because it seems to be there's like a lot of different train of thoughts. Like when I was at the summit, there were some agents that are like, I never post personal stuff. It's only business on my page. And then you have other people who are like, nah, I just do a mix of both. And that's kind of where I'm at. I just do a mix of both.
Yeah.
I have an Instagram account that's from a nickname that I had in high school, and I don't want to change it to Realtor Cory Lawson, Syracuse Realtor. Like I don't want to do these. Then I feel like it's just business and not like myself.
Right.
I don't know. It goes back to what we were saying earlier. It's not me. I'm not the person to be like, hey, do you know anybody who's looking to buy and sell real estate in the next week? Get out of here. I'm never going to make that phone call.
No.
Never going to do that.
It's so cringy for me.
Yeah, for me too. But the second someone texts me or calls me or if they have a question, I'm there with the answer immediately, right? Like that's the important part, is being there to answer the questions, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
How do you guys generate leads? How do you guys generate business?
We do our numbers every year and go back and see where our business came from. And it really is past clients and past client referrals.
How do you nurture them so they can come back?
I just say, hey, and I just keep up those relationships. It's really that simple. If there's clients that I haven't talked to in a long time, it's like, again, that cringe aspect of it is I'm not going to, if I've lost touch with somebody and they haven't reached out and I haven't reached out, I'll like drop in a little text and say, hey, I was thinking about you. And if they don't respond, then I let them go.
Yeah, right.
because I don't want to be that person.
Yeah, I don't want to be that pushy salesman.
Yeah, I don't want to be that pushy salesman. And it's like, I take good care of my people. Mom takes good care of her people. And we just keep the client base loyal by being friends to them.
Yeah. And being your most genuine self.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Right. And I made a decision in 2021. And I mean, I think beyond, back before 2020, even, I was working with a lot of, cold leads and people that I did not know. And I found that those people, and I'm not saying that, all cold leads are like this, but there's not a level of trust there, a mutual respect even.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was being abused.
Yeah.
A lot.
For those not in the real estate industry, what is a cold lead?
Okay, for those who are not in the real estate industry, a cold lead is literally a name and a telephone number.
Yeah.
And that is it. That's all you have. You might have some extra information that says they're looking for a house and, XYZ, and their budget is this. And you know nothing else about them.
Yeah.
And that's very daunting. And I can do it. But there's always this level of, I am so scared because I don't know who this person is.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to wind up with. And I am the kind of person that will go all in and work hard and everything. But sometimes even that is not enough for cold leads.
Right. Especially when it's a stranger, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Like I'm meeting a stranger off realtor.com. I'm always like super cautious in how I approach them to make sure that I'm protected as well as them.
Yes.
But it makes it hard because they don't know the standard. Even if I try to do like a buyer consultation and get them in the office and go over things, a lot of times it seems like those leads end up with me spinning my tires a lot more rather than like my friend Jason from the gym. Like I know Jason, we have a great relationship and I know that he trusts me and I trust him. So it's like a different dynamic, I guess.
Exactly. And again, there's that comfort level.
Yeah.
Is you don't feel like you have to put on a persona
that's not
of
you.
I'm,
Yeah.
So, and I know this is a podcast, so you can't really see the thing that I'm doing. It's like, I'm a professional realtor.
Right. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, totally. And that's, it makes everything a lot more like at ease. And especially for a transaction that's so nerve wracking, something like that goes leaps and bounds. It's like, I'm very fortunate last year. I was looking at my sales, very SOI, very sphere of influence that it came from, mostly from Taikai, friends of friends or friends of family that made it a lot easier to work with. And I'm very fortunate that my business isn't built on like Zillow leads. I don't work Zillow leads. I don't pay Zillow anything really. So it's my source is just a little bit different, What piece of advice would you give somebody who's just about to become a real estate agent?
Oh, that is a very good question. Okay, this is what I will say. For someone who is about to become a real estate agent, and I don't think enough people talk about this, and I'm not really a finance person, but this is the best advice that I was ever given, and I give it to every single person that is about to start the real estate business. When you start out, you're going to eventually get your first sale. And then you're going to look at your commission check, and hopefully your commission check is significant enough that you're like, I am set. This is awesome. But then you go out and you buy new clothes or you buy a new car or you do this and whatnot. Create a business account, put your commission check in a business account. And then you salary yourself out every week, the same amount. Because if you are and this is the biggest thing, if you are working just for that next commission check, you're going to lose sight of taking care of your clients. You're going to lose that fiduciary responsibility to your client. because you're just looking for the next check to get you through. So that's the best advice that I can give is set up your business account, have your commission checks go directly into that business account and pay yourself a salary.
Yep. That's a smart move.
Yeah.
That's a smart move. That's
and that way, whenever times get hard, like with the market, being more of a seller's market now, if you don't have listings, what are you doing?
Yeah,
you have to survive somehow. So that's the best advice I can give.
How do you guys generate listings? Is it just going back to your SOI again?
Yes, it is going back to the SOI. Every now and then I'll get a new lead and I'll go out and I'll check it out and I give them the numbers and what to do and all that. But mainly it is SOI. In fact, going today to see some clients that just bought 2 years ago and they're ready to move again. And they're like, this probably never happens. I was like, no, it happens quite a bit. And I love it when my clients come back to me.
Right.
It makes me happy.
It means two things, right? They like you and they trust you enough, right, to want to do business with you again.
Exactly.
Yeah, repeat customers are usually the best because they're usually people that you know and love. Like they're people that you really enjoy working with.
And they've been through it with me before. I give them, it's like, okay, this is the refresher course of what we're going to be doing. But they don't need as much hand holding.
Right.
Which is very nice.
You say refresher course. Do you do that with all your buyers? You do like a buyer consultation?
Yeah. And I had a listing appointment yesterday with a client of mine. And she was actually my administrative assistant for the longest time, my work wife, as I call her. And I was, explaining things to her and she was rolling her eyes at me. And I said, do not roll your eyes at me. Don't give me that face. There have been changes since you left the office. I have to discuss them with you.
Right.
So, yeah.
And setting those expectations up front make for a way smoother and easier transaction anyways.
Exactly.
Yeah. For me, it's like when I get in that buyer consultation meeting, I'm like, hey, this is the market trend. X amount of people waiving inspection. People are bidding this amount over, telling you this now so you're educated. And we're not in the heat of the moment. And we're like, hey, here we are Friday night looking at the house. Offers are due Saturday afternoon. So we need to make a decision immediately. Oh, you're going to have to waive home inspection. Like you give them the news ahead of time. It seems to like be a more genuine, honest approach rather than like, oh yeah, by the way, you're gonna have to do X, Y, and Z. Because they're like, whoa, hold on a sec. I didn't know that. I didn't know I was gonna have to do all that to get this house. Holy cow.
Yeah.
But that's just prepping the buyer before you get to the showing.
Exactly.
And I feel like I close more deals when I do that. When I do that presentation, I feel like I get those buyers to the closing table rather than, holy cow, randomrealtor.com lead, gotta run, meet this guy at the house. And those end up always fizzling out. Just maybe that's just the nature of the business.
Yeah, I do find that because you never know with those leads.
Yeah.
You just never know. It's like, are they really serious? I get so many calls all the time. And I mean, my biggest thing, because as a, woman, I am not going to drop everything and meet you at the house, Mr. or Miss Random Person. I don't care what your gender is. I'm not meeting you at a house if I do not know you.
Right.
You're going to have to send me a pre-approval letter and a copy of your license.
Yeah. Right.
I'm just not going to do it.
What about a selfie? Can I send you a selfie?
Selfie.
No, none of that.
Look, we could go and do another episode on all the creepers that I've gotten in my inbox that have used the pretext of I need a realtor, and then they start hitting on me.
Oh.
And then it's like, I definitely don't want to be alone in a house with you, ever.
Right.
But yeah, we could do an entire episode on that.
Right. I know exactly. And that's the different dynamics, right? Like I feel like a lot of times the women in my office, they all have a scary story where they were in a weird, dangerous position where they were uncomfortable or the client said some outlandish shit. But like I have been fortunate. I've never been in that position because I'm a dude, right? And that's never going to happen. I did have one time, it's kind of funny. I showed a house we put an offer in on it. The listing agent was somebody, it was an agent in my office that I have a good relationship with. And she had said, the seller said, "Oh, is this the guy that came at 11 with the nice butt?" That was the only time someone had said something outlandish and weird. And that was just funny. And I brushed it off. Never have I been in a house, though, where somebody was like, "Hey, you smell really nice." Like,
oh God, that has happened to me. That has happened to me.
That,
and
like,
it's like,
dynamic, right?
Mm.
See,
No.
and that's the difference between the two. So being like, making sure like you are safe in the house is rule number one. So
yes,
like pre-approval 1 and ID 2, right?
Exactly.
Right. And you're doing that to protect yourself.
And it's also to protect the seller.
Right.
Because we are entrusted with showing their personal space.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to take some rando into a house.
Yep. Right.
Because I don't know who they are. Yeah. That's simple.
Because you never know.
You never know.
So, looking on to next year, how is the Overcash team going to build business? Or are you guys just trying to maintain ship?
I am just trying to maintain right now. I think a lot of people went through stuff in 2020. And I found, and I'm sure a lot of realtors can relate, maybe even you, that I was tying my personality and my self-worth to the numbers I was doing as a realtor. Yeah. And that, especially during downtimes, especially during hard times, can make you go into, I call it bed mode or no bones mode.
Hole.
Yeah, you just lay down in bed and you're like, I have nothing to offer anyone. I'm worthless because my numbers are down and blah, blah, blah. So I've just changed the mindset of not worrying about awards anymore, not worrying about making it to Summit next year. It's not on my goals list. My goals list is to help as many people as I can, to get out good information, and to be there for people. So we have our numbers goal for the year for, aesthetics.
Yeah. Right.
But if we don't make that, that's fine. Because as long as we made enough money to get through the year and we still have a good close client base, that's what makes me happy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in your boat. Like I have the minimum, like I need to at least do X amount, but I don't have a goal. Like I need to beat X amount of dollars. I think there's a weird stigma for other agents who like, what do you mean you don't want to increase your volume from last year? I'm like, no, dude, I almost pulled my hair out last year. I don't want to do any more business than I already did last year because then I lose my balance, right? Like
exactly.
I will never be the number one top producing agent in Syracuse. That's not my shtick. That's not who I want to be. What I want to be is number one in my son's life. That is more important to me. So if I have to lose a couple deals or refer them out to somebody in my office, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. That just gives me more time to spend with Ashton. That's all.
Exactly. Because do you really want on your gravestone to be number one realtor in Syracuse?
Right. No one gives a shit.
No one's going to give a shit.
Right. But you know what's weird, Morgan, is in the moment, those times where like January and February I had nothing pending. Those 2 months was like depression hole for me because I was like, I don't have anything in work right now. And then you go on social media and your other friend agents are like, deal closed, offer accepted, we got this, we got that. And it's a really like weird emotion to keep in check because I never had that coming from retail. Retail was like, I come in, I get my paycheck. Do we hit our sales number? Cool. All right. Peace. Here it's like, oh, there's a fear of loss.
Yes.
Right.
It's that FOMO.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. FOMO. How do you deal with it? How do you like put it into perspective?
I just remember that there's going to be peaks and valleys. And I mean, I've been in it for so long that it really doesn't, I'll still get that little, feeling in my tummy of you really could be doing better. You know that, right? You kind of suck right now. And I just go, okay, well, what is the one thing that I can do today to make myself feel better?
Yeah.
and help someone. Because that's the other thing, is that you can sit there and you can be like, you can, say, all kinds of words. But instead to say, what can I do to make myself feel better and to help somebody?
Yep.
And that's it.
Right. That's kind of the way you kind of like bring it back to center.
Mm-hmm.
Just remind yourself that, like, hey, today I could make somebody really happy and give them some great information.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's just so much easier than trying to say, to rationalize it of, well, you suck and here's the reason why. And it's like, no, you don't suck. You're doing the best that you can. Just do one thing if you have it in you to do it, even if that's just calling an old friend and saying, hey, and just saying, I'm feeling vulnerable right now. Can I just vent to you even? And then hear about their life. And
do you have like a mentor or a close friend in the business that's not your mom that you vent to? Or is it usually your mom?
It usually is my mom.
Yeah.
And we have our things.
It's good to have, though, like your mom in the business, because I feel like I have my work mom, Donna Jordan, who got me into real estate, who I've known since I was 17. She's always been a positive mentor influence in my life. So anytime I need to vent, I got Donna, thankfully, but not all agents have that. And it's even better that it's your own mother.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you guys even have that more of a stronger connection,
Exactly. There's my cat.
Hey, is that a cat guest?
Yeah, that's a cat guest. This is Winifred.
It always happens at least once.
She loves my office chair. Oh, here we go. This is Winnie.
Oh, how cute.
Yeah, she's my baby. All right, go on.
And you're a cat person. That's awesome.
Cat and dog person.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
So balancing your work and social life, how do you find the balance between the two?
So I kind of have to learn how to say no to things. And because I have my social life, I have my real estate life, and we haven't discussed this yet, but I also have my drag life because I do drag. And
which is really cool. I've never spoke to somebody who did drag before.
Yeah.
How did you get into that?
So we have a store in Rockhill called the Mercantile. And yeah, if you're ever in Rockhill, come to the Mercantile. This is a free plug.
That is cool.
They're amazing. Michael and Brittany Kelly, who run the store, decided to do a literal drag race and then also a drag benefit show with the drag queens. And I dabbled in makeup, and Michael reached out to me and said, hey, I need a makeup artist to come and donate their time to put a gentleman who has never been in drag before into a drag queen face. And I said, I'll be more than happy to do that. And went to the show, watched everybody, was watching the pedestrians, the guys who had never been in drag before, just feeling themselves and enjoying it and really embracing it and seeing how much the community loved it. So I decided that I wanted to do drag as well. So I became a drag king.
Drag king. Okay.
Yes.
So I was going to ask, I feel like when I hear drag queen, I usually think of it's a dude as a drag queen.
Right.
And not the other way around. Is it very rare that it happens the other way around?
No, there's a lot of drag kings.
Oh, that's cool.
But I will say it's with the exposure of just drag queens, thanks to RuPaul's Drag Race. Yeah. That seems to have made the mainstream, and it's a good starter to have discussions, but there's drag queens that are also assigned female at birth. So not just men dressing up as women, but, assigned female at birth, dressing up as women as well. And I mean, It's a spectrum. It's a crazy spectrum. But I identify as a drag king. And my character's name is Liam Laughin.
Oh, Liam Laughin.
Liam Laughin.
So like when you decided to get into drag, what what was the initial feeling when you got to put on all the makeup and dress? As a king, do you put on makeup?
Yes.
Okay.
And
How did it make you feel? What were your first thoughts?
I felt very at home in my body.
That's cool.
Yeah. And again, we could like have multiple podcasts on
Yeah.
gender euphoria and everything. And I had always leaned more towards masculine, effeminate masculine, even characters in media, cosplay, everything. And that's kind of what Liam is this effeminate little dude that likes to wear, flowers, but also pantsuits and do different comedy routines. And so that's what he does.
That's cool. Now, is this place like a stage where you would perform?
So I perform at bars.
Oh.
I performed at brunches. A couple weeks ago, we did a college show at Davidson College.
Nice.
Yeah, and the kids came out and they were loving it. So it's wherever we're called to go. So there's not really a set place.
I've never met somebody whose hobby is to go and drag. It's like, man, I don't even know like where, like when you guys do a show, do you guys like give each person 10 minutes? Like, here's your 10-minute skit you do, or here's your 10-minute performance, whether it's singing or comedy. Is that kind of how it's structured?
It's structured more around the number of numbers that you do.
Oh, okay.
And so usually on average, we do 2 numbers. So yeah, it's about 10 minutes of stage time overall.
Gotcha.
Depending on the venue. And it's mostly lip sync for us, but I have seen around the world, there's drag artists that sing.
I feel like you, right?
Yeah. It's like I could sing.
Do you not sing?
I have not done that yet, mainly because the sound systems that we work with don't have the capabilities, and it's kind of a crapshoot.
Right.
You don't know what you're going to get. So it's just easier to lip sync overall than sing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I would like to sing and drag one day.
I feel like that's like that would go together perfectly, especially with your background.
Exactly. I should do that. I really should do that.
So how did you come up with Liam Laughingson?
Liam Laughin. So
Laughin.
I decided I wanted to go with a pun name, and so the Leave 'em Laughin' was my thing, and I've always been partial to the name Liam. So that was the name that I came up with. It took a couple of days of solid thinking, but Liam is just a comedy king, and it stuck well.
Yeah, that's really cool. So he's a comedy king. Are you doing like stand-up comedy when you're up there?
No, actually, I did dip my toe in stand-up comedy for a hot second.
Oh, really?
Yeah, back when I was younger. And
as Morgan or as Liam?
Yeah, as Morgan.
As Morgan.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun, but the burnout came very, very fast with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's pretty much stand-up comedy. I like to think of as a monologue theater.
Right.
And you have to write and perform your stuff all the time and constantly. And you always have to have new material. And it's no, thank you.
Right.
Give mad props to anybody who does.
With Liam, what, how many times a week do you perform?
Last week I had 4 shows.
Whoa.
4 shows last week. Yes.
Wow. That's cool.
And this week I only had 1. I just finished one last night. At a bar in Charlotte. So it's really more of how many bookings I have a month. And on average, I can have anywhere between 5 to 10 bookings a month. Just depends on the month.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And it's you and other drag
artists,
queens performing.
Yep.
Gotcha. Wow. That's so cool. That is very impressive. What is a common stigma that drag queens get?
Okay, so my friend Mr., who is the showrunner of Carolina Creep Show here in Charlotte, will get the thumpers, as I like to call them, the repent, you're sinning,
Ah,
blah, blah, blah. And
yeah,
it's just like, I don't, it's like, I get where these people are coming from. And religious freedom, that's the beauty of our country, is that we can say what we want to say and feel it. We're never going to be taken to jail for it. And so, but at the same time, it's that stigma of, we're horrible people.
yeah, which is
We're
definitely
we're
not the case.
going to hell. Um, but it's not like that at all. What we've created is a community of a variety of artists that love one another and support one another, which is, if you watch any kind of drag race, where it's the little sniping comments and, the shade being thrown and all this, we don't have that here in
Yeah,
Charlotte. It's very supportive and very loving.
right. And wow, that's really cool. I'm like in the camp where I'm like, I don't care what you're doing if it doesn't hurt anybody, right?
Yeah, it's
Like,
never hurt anyone.
right, like if you want to dress as a different sex, well, like what does that matter? It's just not hurting me. If that makes you
Exactly.
happy, and you, by the way, earlier you said you felt more comfortable in your body, right?
Yes.
So like if that's gonna make you feel more comfortable,
Hmm.
why not allow yourself to do that?
Exactly.
Is it something that you thought, since you felt so comfortable in your body, is it something that you thought of just being Liam all the time?
It was a little voice in the back of my head, starting from the age of, as far as I can remember, about 7 years old, of, man, I wish I were a boy sometimes. And I would like learn how to walk like a boy,
Right.
and stuff like that. So there was a part of me that felt more masculine, has
Yeah.
always felt more masculine. And, being assigned female at birth, we were, it's that, also that little rebel in me that's going, I'm not going to do what you tell me to do. I
Yeah,
don't
right.
like wearing dresses. I
Right.
don't like getting my nails done. I don't, like, I had long hair for the longest time. And that was a big adjustment for everybody when I finally cut my hair off. It's like, I feel like me
Yeah.
now. And yeah, it's the, since I started drag, I have found out more about myself as Morgan through Liam.
Yeah. Right.
And
Isn't it
yeah.
crazy how just a haircut can make you feel more
Oh,
comfortable in your own body?
let me tell you, I have inspired so many people to go and cut their hair off. And they're like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. It feels so good. I'm like, I know. And then it will just grow back. So if you don't
Right.
like it, it'll just grow
Right. Exactly.
back. Or
Well,
you
I've
can get a
only known
wig.
you with short hair, so
Mhm.
I think you pull it off, you rock it. Never seen you
Thanks.
with long hair, so I have nothing to judge it against. And
It got
it's
tangled
cool
a
that, like,
lot.
what's that?
It got tangled a lot. It would get stuck in my window when I had the window rolled down.
Ugh,
It was awful.
pain, a pain. Is there anybody that you perform with that takes their persona everywhere they go? Like they are just embodied as a drag king or queen?
I don't know anybody who that's who they are all the time.
Yeah.
I do know a lot of performers though that they started drag and then they found out they identified as the gender that they were doing the persona for. And
Yeah.
so it helped them along their journey to realizing that they're non-binary or trans.
Hmm.
And but still you have that show persona
Yeah.
of, this is me during the daytime, and me during the daytime would never just walk up to somebody at a bar and do a funny little dance and then
Yeah.
walk away. But
Right.
Liam is able to give me that freedom to actually cut loose and be my weird self without that fear of being rejected.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's cool to hear that. It's almost like I hope this doesn't come off terrible, but like
No.
a test drive. It's almost like you're test driving like a different gender, I guess.
Test driving a different gender, but it's also just
A different personality.
you learn. Yeah, it's like test driving different personality. It's like, but I could never do that during the daytime.
Right.
I could never do that. It's like if I don't have a beard on and my sparklies on, the odds of me walking up to you in a bar and be like, "Hi,
Yeah.
how are you tonight?" Can't do
Slim
it.
to none.
Yeah, will never happen. I'll be in the
Right.
corner working on my phone.
Yeah, right. So like putting on the beard, the makeup, the
Mhm.
sparkles, it almost you just immediately feel like you're Liam, like you just feel like a different person.
Yeah, I feel like a different person. It's sort of like I like to think of drag artists as superheroes
Mm-hmm.
that you have, and that's the funny thing is that whenever you see your friends in drag, and most of us don't even know what our day names are. We just know each other by our drag personas.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And so it's legit. How could anybody not know that Clark Kent wasn't Superman? But when you see my drag mother, Anya Nerves, and she is, almost 7 feet tall in heels and a wig and the eye makeup, the very first time I saw her out of drag,
Yeah.
I was like,
you the same person?
so
Right.
yeah, it's like being a superhero.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It's like even hard to tell, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like,
And we're
when they take
saving the
everything
world.
off.
Yeah, exactly.
What is the process that people go through to find their character? Is it just is there like a certain you have to do ABC, or does everybody get to their destination differently?
Everyone gets their destination differently. The drag journey is very personal. There's some people that right out of the gate, they know exactly who they are. They know exactly what they're going to do. They know how to do costume design. They know how to do makeup. They know how to get their mixes down. They know everything. And then there's people like me who just kind of go, I don't know who I am yet, but I'm just going to give myself this name. And then we'll just kind of work our way through it and
see if I like it.
Exactly. See if I like it. If I don't like it, I'll stop. If I do like it, I'll keep on going until I don't like it anymore. And that's where I am.
Honestly, there's a common thread between drag and Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes.
And I know this is going to sound ridiculous. I'm a big Dungeons and Dragons fan. I play a lot with my friends, right? But it's also the same thing for me. When we start playing, I'm embodying somebody different. You know what I mean? Like I'm playing my character. I'm playing Tyler, the water genasi genie. Like that's who I'm trying to embody. And I will say though, I do have a hard time always figuring out what their personality is in the moment. Like I have a hard time saying like, what would Tyler do? Do you have those moments where you're like, how would Liam react to this? Or is it just like so natural for you?
It's just so natural for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's like, okay, and usually I learned this whenever I started doing drag is there's this mold that I was trying to put myself into. And am I allowed to cuss on this?
Oh.
Am I allowed to say the F word? Okay, I'll just say the F boy persona that drag kings have, which is kind of that swagger. Oh, did you freeze? I think he froze.
On this.
I mean,
okay. So we were talking about getting in character, right? For me, when I play Tyler, the water genasi, it's very hard for me to figure out his personality, what he would do. You were just saying that you feel like it's very natural for you.
Right. Officially now. When I was first starting out, I really didn't know what Liam would do in certain situations, but you just have to test it out. You have to go, okay, is Liam like this? And then if the next day I'm cringing and I'm going, oh no, absolutely not, that will never happen again, then it's just a part of what I learned Liam does.
And how have you figured out what he would like? Do you take notes at all, or is it just all like up in your head?
It's all up in my head. I do have enough friends, and I call them friends. So friends that are fans that take videos of my performance.
Okay.
So it's sort of like watching a game reel when you're an athlete, and you go, "Ooh, let's never do that again." It needs to make a mental note. So once you learn from that, you start to build who you are as a drag artist.
And with that kind of thinking, does the camaraderie of your friends help you kind of figure out who that character is?
Yes.
Or how you want to tweak it?
Yes, it does help. And I get feedback from my elders, like my drag mother and my drag aunties that have been in for a long time, and kind of my drag uncles. I don't really have a drag dad, but I get feedback from them. They go, "Okay, loved it. Try this next time."
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. Is there like a book like on how to drag, or is this all just like self-taught by other people?
It's self-taught, but YouTube is a powerful tool.
Isn't it awesome?
Yeah, YouTube is a powerful tool. If there's anybody out there who is like, oh man, I've never heard of a drag king before, all you have to do is just type in drag king on Instagram, and the tag will reveal all these people.
Right.
And I just kind of learned from them of what they do, and then also what not to do. So yeah,
there's to do's and not to do's.
Exactly.
Just like in anything, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, YouTube is the like number 2 search engine in the world, which is pretty crazy, right? Right underneath Google.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I learned everything of note as far as makeup goes. It's just a bunch of makeup tutorials.
Oh, I bet.
Yes.
If there's somebody who's like on the fence, like like kind of undecided if they want to get into drag or if they want to try it, what is a piece of advice you'd give them? Go
to your local drag show. That's the biggest thing. Support local drag. And just go, on a Sunday. Sunday or Saturday brunches are a great place to kind of figure out the drag community there. And usually the brunches are all ages shows. So it's not as intense.
It's not as like adult oriented.
Exactly. It's not as adult oriented. I mean, there's a lot of Disney numbers and a lot of cartoons and stuff like that. And then you just slowly start coming out more often. You get to know the drag community. And that's the biggest thing, is the community part. Is none of us, I don't know any drag artist that has gotten anywhere completely on their own, stepping on people, being disrespectful. It's building friendships. It's how can I help you? How can I support you? And, can I learn from you?
Right.
So, I mean, it's just like the real estate community more than anything else.
Yeah.
Like, go to an open house.
Right. Right. That's like
office meetings.
I've said this before, but I feel like when my parents were around, it was like the only form and the only way to find community was like either A, with the people you worked with, or B, through church, right?
Yeah.
That seemed to be the only way. Now there's just so many different ways that you could find. You could have an entire community in Dungeons and Dragons, an entire community in drag, an entire community in this obscure video game that not many people play. You could still find a community. It might not be very large, but you could still find that sense of community online through all these different forums and websites and all these different things.
Exactly.
I think that's why churches aren't so popular anymore. I feel like people are finding that outlet with like other things that they're more passionate about.
Yeah, it's like if you go to church every Sunday, that's great. But it's like, who are you going to talk to about Bob's Burgers that you're obsessed with? Who are you going to talk to about your favorite podcast? Right. And it's like, you could take that to somebody at church, but they might be like, it's not really my thing though. It's like, well, all right. Peace be with you. I'll see you next Sunday.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like, that's the power of like Reddit. Reddit's like one of my favorite websites. It's like you could literally find a community for anything that you would imagine on there.
Exactly.
It's really, now to bring it full circle.
Yes.
Last question: have you sold real estate to anybody in the drag community? Because That's how you bring it full circle, right?
Exactly. I did have one friend that I was helping try to buy a house that decided to take a step back temporarily. But all my drag friends know that I do real estate, and they call me up every now and then. Yeah.
So it's not hush.
No, it's not hush hush.
Okay.
No,
gotcha.
I'm very vocal. I keep Morgan and Liam separated.
Yeah.
Just to keep things clean.
Right.
But my drag friends know I do real estate, and I officially came out last year and told the entire world that I do drag.
Oh,
and
so just last year you said
people, and people in real estate know that I do drag as well.
And
so
what made you want to come out as a drag king
artist? And I also came out, with my sexual preference and all that. And it was because our community here in Rockhill, South Carolina, was having Pride for the first time. It was very first Pride. And it felt so important for me as a drag artist, as a part of this community, to say, hey, you're not alone in this. If you're feeling this way, you're not alone. So that's what really pushed me, because how old are you, Cory?
30.
Okay, so you're 30. I'm 4 years older than you, but we're still millennials, elder millennials, whatever you want to call us.
Yeah.
We didn't have that growing up. We didn't have that. If there was anything about you that was slightly different from the norm, you were made to feel like you were a freak.
Yeah.
And I had that growing up. And so the reason why I wanted to come out and talk about who I am as a person and as a drag artist was that way, if there was just one person out there that was feeling the same way and felt like a freak, to let them know they're not, that they're beautiful the way that they are.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. What a powerful way. I think that's a great way to end the podcast.
I think so too.
You have shown that the people who dress and drag are not freaks. They're wonderful human beings. Like yourself.
They're amazing. They're amazing people.
That's the cool thing about the age we live in is I don't think we have to be embarrassed about the things that we love or are passionate about anymore. If you like drag, you should talk about it. If you like Dungeons and Dragons, there's no longer a satanic overhanging umbrella over it.
Exactly. And Dungeons and Dragons is very metal too. It's so metal.
I bet you would really love it, Morgan. I bet you would have a blast playing.
I think it would too. I just need to find, I guess, a local group that does it. And I just need to find. I do have a couple friends that talk about D&D all the time.
I will throw this out there. If you have a couple friends that want to play and you want somebody to run a game, you got my number. Hit me up. I'd be happy to run a game for you guys. I think you guys would really enjoy it.
Cool. I'd love
Morgan,
that.
Thank you so much for doing the podcast. I appreciate your time. And thank you for educating me on something that I know literally zero things about until today.
Well, it's always fun. And if anything, just search out on YouTube. Go support your local drag shows, because I'm pretty sure they do have those in Syracuse somewhere.
They have to. I would imagine. I don't know where they're at, but I bet you they are. If you just type in drag Syracuse, which I'm going to do after I eat lunch, I'll see what events and stuff are going on. And there has to be something.
There has to be something because there's little drag communities everywhere.
Yeah. Morgan, I appreciate the hell out of you. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you, Cory. This has been fun.
Likewise.